his.
Hello, and welcome to Keeping It Real with Shannon Live. Because you don't know how it's going to turn out.
My kids empowered me to get out.
What's going on with this remote learning and in the midst of COVID?
Working for different elected officials, learning and understanding how to put the community first.
Hi, and welcome to Keeping It Real with Shannon. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And I want to say hello to my co-hosts, Dr. Vanessa DeDanzi, Miss Tiffany Shannon, Mr. Haley Phillips. How y'all guys doing?
Good.
Great.
Are you ready for the holidays? You getting ready? Spend that money? Are you spending that money? I mean, is my gift already on the way?
The gift is in my mind.
I heard you wasn't good this year.
I'm good every year. Well, anyway, other people have not been good. That's our first topic. He's really been a bad guy. As you know, George Santos, but y'all don't want to give him any airtime or anything. But I mean, I just think they should have left him in Congress. That's what I think. Let him stay where he was. I felt like if somebody was that smart and could pull something off like this, he's going to be very important. He's going to go down in the history book. Trust me, because now somebody wants to do a movie on him. Now the book is going to be coming. I think he's going to do very well for himself.
He got no choice. He got no choice.
I mean, I know they're embarrassed because they surely didn't do their due diligence on him. So
that's what it is.
Well, that's the point. Like you really cannot get that upset with him, truthfully, because you didn't do the research, you didn't check his background, you didn't see if he went to college, you didn't check everything that you normally check with a person that's going to run for office or whatever. So I mean, that's on you. That's as far as I'm concerned. That's on him.
No, but I mean, same thing with 45, when he went in there and started running. Nobody checked anything here and there. You just knew this big facade that he had. But my problem is, if you got a situation and they're bringing you down, just take one for the team. Stop trying to bring other people down, with you. That's the biggest problem that I have. Now he's trying to out other people and give them up. Oh, okay. You were supposed to have been volunteering here, but you was at law school, so that's stealing time and here and there. So he's just trying to bring some other people down with him down the pipe.
Well, what's wrong with that? Because that's what they all do.
No, you don't do that.
That's what they all do. But the thing about it is, that's why they didn't want to get rid of him at the very beginning, because you already knew he had something on him or whatever. Because otherwise they'd have been throwing him out of office at the very, very beginning. But they didn't do that. They just
I think they didn't really want to.
They didn't really want to do it this time either.
But don't be shocked if they knew all this stuff all along. And now that it came out, they want to pretend like they didn't know.
Well, I think also because they was trying to protect him because of the due diligence procedure, right? You can't really be throwing out this. He wasn't really convicted. He just had a case. They just had enough evidence from him from the Ethics Committee report, and that's what the decision came about. But the thing is, I think I agree with you, Tiff. I think they was more embarrassed and felt like, listen, we gotta do something about this. I think
it would have been better for them to wait to find out whether he was going to be convicted or not. Even if they convicted him, I still think they should have just waited to see if he was going to be convicted. Then, if he was convicted, then you could proceed to throw him out of office.
But I don't think they had to wait till he was convicted, because I mean, ethically and that he was wrong.
Well, they still nervous about this resolution that they just did, because one of the other congressmen said, I think we should wait until to see if he's going to be convicted or not, because they had resolutions about it, because it's some kind of procedure that you have to do when things are taking place like that. So I mean, I think they should have just left him in there.
I think it also has something to do with, they mentioned something about pensions, right? That they could get pensions at the 5 year, but he wasn't quite vetted and he wasn't there for a year. So I don't know, maybe they're trying to protect that as well. I don't know why they brought that up. So there may be something that he may be entitled to, but really be entitled on the false pretense. So they kind of like cut it off then. So maybe have something to do with that. Another
Well,
thing.
I think they still could have used him in other ways, though. I think they still could have used. I mean, I understand what he has done is horrible. It's horrible, but it ain't nothing that none of the rest of them have done already.
Not as blatant.
I mean, this is. I don't think that anyone else have been, this blatantly committed fraud. I mean, any job, any company, fraud. You can't commit fraud and think that you're going to be able to hold a position there.
Well, he's not the only one that have committed fraud. That's what I'm saying. He's not the only one that have committed fraud.
I think if you're running for office, it's up to you to be honest, and about your background, and you should have like do honest things because you're representing your country, you're representing the people. So I really believe you should be honest.
Well, where you been at, Haley, that you think they should be honest when all politicians, all of them?
I know that.
Who's going to be honest? Now let's just be real about it. Who's going to be honest?
Or maybe politically to say to have some level of integrity, right?
You think because they're in office that they haven't taken any kickbacks? I mean, give me a break with that.
Well, hey, but when you're in that position, I think you should be honest. You got to walk that walk and
some of them get caught, some of them do not get caught. The only thing I said about Santos was, I saw this from the beginning. I keep saying it. I'm just really amazed that he could pull something like this off. So to me, someone like this is pulling something off like that. Ain't no dummy. He ain't no dummy now. He's not a dummy.
I'm not amazed. And
he just got caught, but he is not a dummy.
No, but we have to say what it is here. I mean, I have to bring in race. I think that he was a white man and they wasn't worrying about his background, and that's why they didn't do their due diligence. I mean, just think about when Obama ran for president. I mean, they were all the way in Africa trying to find out who his family was there. So, I mean, come on.
I know, because they were found their aunt and tried to find something wrong with the aunt. They couldn't.
They slept on it, and that's like I may not say that on the show, but it's like getting caught with your pants down. So if nobody's looking, nobody knows. But then when it's exposed, it's because everybody's business. And I think that's one of the things that we can say as president, that people were embarrassed. The constituents felt cheated, they felt used, and they didn't feel that they represented him in a place and space where they went by the integrity that he presented. We're
not going to continue talking about him and carrying on, but the thing about it is Trump has done all the stuff that he has done, and they still haven't gotten him and still ain't trying to get him. So I don't understand what the problem is here. So this one does this. Trump does that, and they still is not bothering him. So my thing is,
he got some other legal stuff.
Everybody got standards. One can get away with something and one can't. But anyway, we won't even talk about him anymore. But this is another hot one now I wanted to ask, because this has happened. And so I just want to get someone else's views. Now, if your spouse passes, do you grieve for a while, or do you immediately get involved with somebody else? If you're supposed to be in love, if you love your spouse, you in love with your spouse, and something happens to them, are you able to grieve a while, or you just go and get right involved with somebody else?
It depends on how you feel.
Absolutely.
And what you're comfortable with. It doesn't say that, you have to grieve for 5 and 10 years. I mean, it just depends on the circumstances.
I didn't say grief for 10 or 5 years. I said short grief. In other words, 2-3 months later, you can find yourself involved with somebody else.
I think it depends. I think it depends. Okay, one monkey don't stop no show, and I'm not saying that because the person's no longer here. But what I'm saying is that it also depends on your age. It doesn't mean because you start finding a companion or someone to make you happy or someone to spend time with, that doesn't mean that you forget your loved one. You stop loving your loved one. It doesn't mean that this is a new life. It's just something people still have to live in a space that they're in. Exactly. And what that means, that doesn't mean they have to be miserable. That doesn't have to mean they have to be lonely. It doesn't mean they can't go out, they can't date, they can't have a companion. People need to be able to live, and this is how the person can also help with grief, get it out, being exposed, being around others. People.
I agree because I
So,
agree with
so
you
in
on
other
that.
words, I just want clarification. So in other words, if your spouse dies and then 3 months later, you feel that you can be talking to someone else, going out, socializing, getting involved with them 3 months later?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I
They
mean,
may help you.
exactly.
Some people will fall into a depression, and that person might be the one to save you from depression, or
Exactly.
just helping you get out. Like Vanessa said, you still have a life to live. You're still here. I mean, I wouldn't want the person, crying and crying all, and depressed. I want them to go out and live their life.
Well, it's not that
If
you're
that
crying
person
and
is not coming back,
It's
there's
not crying
nothing
and depressed.
to
My
do.
thing is, if my husband dies and I truly, truly, really loved him deeply and stuff like that, who's thinking about somebody in 2 months?
Yeah, but that's
or
the
3
change.
months?
But
Not
that's
that
the
you
change.
mean
in
a
love.
lot
It's up to the
and
individual.
depression, but how you thinking about somebody
Yeah.
2-3 months later?
I think it's up to the individual. If that person
Exactly.
helps you cope with your everyday life and helps you, to stay sane, where you can function, where you could, go to work or whatever it is they're helping you cope with, and they bring you that solace, because,
Well, where did you
everybody
find this
knows,
person 2 months later?
it's better for that
You
person.
can find them
I'm
anywhere.
saying
Where,
it's better for
where
that
did you
person
find
to
this
comfort
person
you.
2 months later, 3 months later?
You
How
could be in the supermarket and find somebody. You
Yeah.
can end up, you could end up sparking a conversation. It's just like if you find somebody and you start dating somebody, you can
Exactly.
find them anywhere. You're not saying
Well,
I'm going out to look for them.
That's my point again. I said, even if you met somebody or whatever, who's thinking about talking to them? Because to me, if you when you was really truly in love with that person, how could you even be thinking about talking? Even if I met somebody, how am I thinking about talking about them? I'm not thinking about
Lonnie,
somebody else right now.
You know what, Lonnie? When people talk about marriages, right? Just want to throw this out there. When people pass away, they've been the best husband, the best wife, the best. You don't know what kind of turmoil and trauma and things been going on in marriages with cases. And sometimes people put too much emphasis on what marriage is. And sometimes there's a part of life that everyone knows. You're born, you live, you die, right? There's a part of life. Nobody talks about, oh, what you gonna do when I'm here? What you gonna do when I'm not here or there? But the thing is, people need to be happy, and whatever happiness brings them and what makes them happy, I'm for it. Go for it.
Well,
What in case for those who, what in case your spouse is sick and you are, you've talked about the end and you have kind of accept your spouse's death. Yes, you love them, but you've had time to cope with this and accept it. It's not going, what was going to happen.
I understand that, but what I'm saying, I'm talking about to me I'll say what I'm just saying when I come back. We got to go to break. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back so I can say something else.
It's Shannon. It's Shannon.
Okay, Dad. 1, 2, 3. You saved me. Dad?
Are you okay?
I'm fine, dear.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
Hi, we're back with our hot topic. So we was talking about when your spouse passed, do you grieve a little bit or do you move on? Well, I was just saying before is that to me, when you deeply in love with someone, it doesn't come that easy. I mean, I just use myself as an example. When my fiance died, it took me almost a good year to get it together. Not that I was in no depression, that couldn't do anything, couldn't function. It was just hard for me to even be thinking about talking to somebody right away because I was still thinking about the person that I truly, truly love. Now, when you don't really truly, truly love someone that deep, you love them, but you're not in love with them, then maybe it's easy for you just to move on like that and start talking to somebody else right away or something like that. So, if you were talking that sense, like to me, that means to me, you just didn't really, you love the person, but you wasn't that deeply in love.
Nah, I fit the differ.
Yes,
You
I
can't
don't
speak
know
that
about
way.
that.
That's
I
not-
don't
not
agree
good.
either.
I don't think
You
I-
can move on that
You,
quickly.
Lottie, not for
No.
everybody else.
No,
It
no.
works for you. Exactly.
You can be
Huh?
deeply in
That
love
works
with
for you.
somebody.
Right, exactly.
what?
You can't measure the person's love for someone based on their actions and how they do things and how they respond to things. You can't measure that, right? Just like Holly said, it's to each his own. Every individual is different. Every circumstance is different, and you don't know what people need at the time. If you're much older, maybe 60,
You
70.
keep saying if people much older, the age ain't got nothing to do with it.
No, but
If
I
you
haven't
can
said
be
I haven't
in love
said
at
it yet.
90 years
No,
old.
no,
That
no.
don't
I'm
have
not,
nothing to
that's
do
not
with
what
your
I'm saying.
relationship.
Okay, you want to use 90 years old? Fine. Somebody
You know,
90 years
no,
old.
it has nothing to do with age.
No,
You
you're
can
not
be in
listening to what I'm
love at
saying.
any age.
You're not listening to what I'm saying, Lottie. Your question wasn't if you was in love. The question was, would you be able to move on? Now, if somebody's much older, they may not really want to feel bothered to get into a relationship, start things over. What cases they may accept things as it is and move on. So somebody that may be 30 or 40 and lose and become a young widower, they may say, well damn, I got a long way, ahead of time to go. Let me find somebody to spend my time with.
Well, of course.
But that's what I talk about.
But you don't look at it as age. You're not looking at it as age. Whether you old or young.
No, it's not about the level of love. It's about looking and seeking love outside. Older people may feel they don't want the kind of love, but everybody needs a companion, right? Everybody needs a companion. Nobody wants to be alone. Nobody wants to be home, especially when you have an empty nest. Your kids are no longer at home, right? Nobody wants to come home to an empty house. And like Tiffany said earlier, they fall into a depression, a stupor, and you find a lot of young older individuals when they become widowers in their home, they become suicidal. They get lonely. So there's a lot of other things that attach to that mental capacity component of how they should continue to live their final days. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
agree.
I think it's the circumstances. Like I was saying, I talked to my mother about it, and she said that when her mother was on her deathbed, she asked her friend that she used to work with to marry my grandfather because she didn't want the family to be apart, and she wanted the family to stay together. But she knew that my grandfather needed somebody there to help him, to help stabilize him, because if he falls, everybody falls. So she married him, and she helped raise the kids. So I think that it depends on the circumstances. And that circumstances, because you're talking about back in the 30s, it wasn't like here, you can maybe like now where you can somebody is solely, so you can go on like to speak to a psychiatrist and stuff like that back then. They didn't have money like that. So if this woman could bring, or that person could bring, solace to you and fill that void, why not?
Yes.
Why not?
So what you are saying, Haley, is that lady married your grandfather, you said?
Yeah, she married my grandfather.
She just married him. It wasn't like she was in love with him or anything. It didn't have nothing to do with love.
The way the story goes, on her biological mother's deathbed, they used to work together. They used to work for like a laundry. They used to iron clothes and wash them. And when she passed, she knew this woman already. So she asked her to marry my grandfather.
That's my point. I said so the woman wasn't married to grandfather because they fell in love or anything. She just married him to help take care of his family.
Yeah, right.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. Because if you're looking at it in that sense, then that has nothing to do with love, Jay. Because I know people also arrange marriages for people to get married to each other.
Well, maybe she might have felt something.
The day that they did that, but I'm talking about when you actually truly deeply love somebody.
Well, maybe she might have felt something for him, maybe in talking, or maybe with my grandmother, maybe he might have came to the laundry and she might have saw him or something, maybe they might have had some kind of words or something, where he had spoke to her or something, but
okay, then since y'all saying that, okay, so then would you date your spouse's friend? If something happened to him, will you move on to the friend?
Is he dead or alive?
Why not? Why not?
Well, either way, is he dead? You would move. You would date his.
Well, if he dead, then he don't know what's going on.
Why not?
He don't have no feelings behind it. So
I don't see
yeah,
anything wrong with it.
if it makes me happy.
Yeah.
Well, you know, sometimes I hear these stories of people with karma, right? So sometimes people may say, if you dating a friend because you always been messing with a friend, but sometimes things later in life will come out and things will happen. You're like, why does happen? Why does happen? It's because, you know, sometimes that's just how it is, right? People say sometimes you lose a man the way you get him. That's what they say.
Mm-hmm.
But I've heard some stories where a woman, not necessarily a woman, have dated her husband's friend after the husband's gone, and then things have happened over the years, and then he wasn't the best. Well, in other words, the grass wasn't green on the other side. So, but that's a price. That's a price you take. That's right. The price you take it's a price you pay, you know, for jumping in lion's den. So sometimes you just really don't know.
Well, it's a risk. I feel it's a risk, you know. At least you know something of that person, as opposed to going out there, you know, and trying to, you know, learn about somebody new. You know something of them. You know their past history. You know their likes.
No, I wouldn't. You know I wouldn't date. I wouldn't.
Well, you never know. You never know. I mean, that person may end up being.
I wouldn't even date. I wouldn't even date my girlfriend's boyfriend or whatever.
Well, why not?
Because I wouldn't. Because to me,
even if they were a good person,
it has nothing to do with where I'm good or where they good or whatever. You know, my thing is I never looked at you that way. I might have looked at. I'm talking to you, but it's just friends because you my girlfriend's boyfriend or whatever. So why would I be looking at you in that sense anyway? You know?
Well, you're talking about a lie.
That's something different. No, I wouldn't date. No,
even if my husband died or whatever, why would I go and start talking to one?
No, that's something different. You that's something different. The person lie. I wouldn't date my girlfriend or boyfriend's ex or what cases, however you look at it.
Yeah, but, no, I wouldn't do
that. That's across the line.
Yeah,
I mean, some people do it. Some people do it because
I know people do it all the time. That's what I'm saying. And like I said, even if your spouse die or whatever, you start talking to one of their friends or something like that. I couldn't see myself doing that. Talking to one of their friends.
I guess it depends.
I figure there's a lot of people. There's so many people out there that you can find to be talking to. You don't.
Well, listen, you got dating apps for what it was. People that's divorced.
That's what I'm saying. To me, I wouldn't feel comfortable. You know, talk because I don't put myself even in that situation to even becoming attracted to some of my friends, husbands or friends, or my husband friends that came over to the house or whatever, you know, and stuff like that. What would I be looking at them like that for?
They never know when you.
I mean, it depends. I mean, I've seen it happen, and they actually had a better relationship, marriage than when they were with the person they was with before. So this is, you just don't know. Some people you think is for you, and then it ends up being the next person. Sometimes, you know, we can't always, you know, say, you know, yes, yeah.
Well, I mean, because you know, I always looked at I can't think of her name right now, Nina Jackson, the young lady that was married to, I think it was Jermaine. Then they broke up, and then she got married to Randy, the brother, and she has kids by both of them. Like,
well, she probably be saying it for some money.
Well, yeah, yeah. And that is a different scenario. Yeah, that's her going to the brother.
How do you go to the brother?
No, that's something. No, I wouldn't.
Then you will have talking about him. Now the kids don't know who the uncle, aunt, and whoever they supposed to be.
Cousins. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the same thing. That's just what I'm talking about. It's you know, even with the friend, to me, because the friend to me is always like family. So it's like I'm still in that family, talking to somebody in that family or whatever. So, I mean, it's just me. I can't. I wouldn't talk to no one like that. I just think there's too many other people out there that you can get with and talk to. And I'm not saying, if you like the person, you fall in love with them or whatever, I guess you couldn't help yourself. Then maybe that's a different story. But I don't see talking to like that.
If
I
that's
couldn't-
the
I couldn't-
person
I don't have
for
no
you,
sister,
what you gonna do?
I couldn't even see myself talking to my sister's ex or anything like that.
You saying that's a total different scenario. You're talking about talking to your siblings or your best friend, husband or man.
And
No,
while
that's
they're still
something you
alive.
won't do.
That's
Yeah,
totally different.
yeah, but you're just saying, okay,
I'm talking about
gonna
even
talk
when
to-
they pass. Even when they pass. Well, I mean, if I had a sister and she passed, what would I be talking to her husband for?
I think
Oh,
every
I
situation
don't
is
see
different.
that. I'm not saying because I know people do it all the time. I know instances that it happens.
That's not necessarily
You know,
my
that's why the
forte,
topic came in my head,
but that's not necessarily my forte. But you can't knock those who do it because there may be another ulterior motive and agenda, or maybe some incentive of why they do it. You just really know. You really don't know, and we not really here to judge. So
no, we're not judging. It's not like judging. I say that's the individual's. You know, if that's something that they want to do, that's the individual.
right.
I said I couldn't feel comfortable. I wouldn't feel comfortable doing it. I just don't put myself in that kind of situation that I become attracted to that person or whatever.
But you
I
may
mean,
not. You may
I
not.
always look
planned
at
it.
people as the family, like all us is family. That's how I look at them.
But you may not have planned to be attracted or talk to that person. Sometimes, in the midst of everyone grieving and talking, you end up liking the person. You end up seeing them for something different. So
Well,
I mean,
there must have been a little itch there all along. Then, if you ended up,
No,
no,
not
it don't
necessarily.
necessarily have to be.
and
Lottie, you
are
gotta
you
stop
sure there
using
wasn't
it.
nothing going on before? There
No,
was
not
No,
necessarily.
nothing
No.
before. Something had to be going on. I mean,
No, it
I was-
doesn't.
That's not true.
Lottie, it's 3-1.
looking all the time.
It's 3-1, Lottie.
It
You gotta
always seems
give
to
up.
be 3-1, right?
3-1.
No, you probably looking at them all the time. That's why it's so easy for you to talk to them.
No, but
Yeah.
sometimes they're friends. Sometimes they're friends, and them come around as to give support, right? They
Yeah.
come around. They
Sometimes
I
friends
agree with
what?
that support. Yeah.
They'll come around to
You might
give
need
support.
that.
Give
and things
support.
like that. You know, they come around.
Comfort,
They may do
yeah.
things the husband can't do. They may, they fill in a void, not necessarily a sexual void, but just the presence of someone there that they're familiar with, that they can sleep when they don't have to sleep with one eye open, one eye closed. So it's a comfort level that people need as well.
And then you start talking to them
Just like
on the
comfort food.
phone, and then next thing you know, you're like,
It's like
oh.
comfort food.
Yeah, right. Okay. They're not in the picture, but we know they was in the picture all the time. Mhm. We know the stories. Well, anyway, thank you for joining us tonight, and we hope you getting ready for the holiday, getting prepared, and hopefully everything goes well for you for the holiday. And like we was talking tonight, if you meet somebody and you feel that you need to talk to them, you talk to them. Like they said, it's the individual person who decides what direction they want to go and what direction they want to take. Everybody is different. So look, whatever you have to do, you do it. Thank you, Vanessa, Tiffany, and Haley. Thank you for coming on tonight and sharing your comments and your opinion. And, just leave your girlfriends and spouses, people alone. Just don't be bothering them, okay? All right. Take care. Remember to watch us every Tuesday at 8 o'clock and Saturdays at 5:30 p.m. on Brick and 2:30 on Manhattan Neighborhood Network. And as always, we'll see you next time.
Today's show is sponsored by Abu's Bakery. If you have a sweet tooth, stop by Abu's Bakery for some delicious cakes and pies.
Would you like beautiful pictures for your home or your office? Then stop by Faith Art Gallery. They have a large selection of pictures from around the world.
It's Shannon.